there's a couple stories. This all took place. I used to live in a house, about 5 minutes from here, but we moved out of there a couple years ago. But we lived there for about 9 years, and basically it was just a house that the landlord had converted into 3 apartments. And ironically enough, this was the house that my landlord had grown up in as a child, and he was an old guy, like. He was probably, mid-70s or something, when we moved out. I mean, he was an older gentleman. So that house has been there for, 70, 80 years at least. So basically, he took the bottom floor, like the front, the first floor, and he made that an apartment. And then you go up a set of stairs, and what used to be like a couple bedrooms, he turned that into an apartment. And then there was a third floor, which was like a real small apartment, like an attic that he converted into another apartment. And when we moved into the house, there was a lady who lived downstairs underneath us. We lived on the second floor, and then on the third floor there was a couple that lived up there about our age, late 20s, early 30s or whatever. And they lived there for about a year. And so, I was well aware of, what it sounds like in the house on a normal basis. What somebody living above me.
Normal house
like.
noises. Sure.
Yeah, what somebody living below me sounds like. Well, I'd say, like I said, we lived there about 9 years, and they moved out. The couple upstairs moved out probably, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years after we had moved in. And even though, this isn't the story. I'm just setting up the whole premise of the house. This is like American Horror Story.
Take your time. We're not in a rush.
Yeah. Even though that they had moved out, like, there had been many, many, countless nights. I can't even explain to you. It had to be in the hundreds, 1,000 times that I could still hear people walking around upstairs. Now, like I said, when they had lived up there, they lived up there for about a year or two when we first moved in. So I know what footsteps above my head sounds like. And I can't tell you how many times I heard people walking around in the apartment upstairs, so much to the point where, like, I would come out of my apartment and check the apartment upstairs because it sounds like there's people in there. It's just distinct thuds, walking back and forth in the apartment. And, it got to be, it happened so often that, we just lived with it. Like, it just became, happenstance or whatever. Like,
sure.
Yeah, it was just like, whatever, the ghosts they're partying again, what are you going to do? Okay, so to set up the house, like, maybe that should have tipped me off to begin with, but there was 2 distinct, weird things that happened to me in the house. The first thing that happened was, it was a Saturday afternoon, and I was, out on the couch. I had taken a nap. And I was in the living room, and my girl, Nikki, she was in the living room too. She was on the computer, okay, and she was, I don't know, playing games or whatever. So she had her back to me, and it was probably, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, midday, bright sunlight or whatever. This wasn't middle of the night sort of thing. This was right in the middle of the day. And like I said, I had fallen asleep on the couch, and I woke up. I had woke up, and when I opened my eyes, standing at the foot of the couch, about 6 inches from my feet, I saw a little kid standing there, and the kid was, I don't want to say he was see-through, transparent, but, like, he wasn't, it was definitely vapory, it wasn't like a human being standing there, and obviously, I don't have children, so, for a kid to be in my house to begin with.
That's kind of weird. Right.
Yeah, there would never be happening.
Yeah, for me, that's just called Thursday, but yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, that's called weird. So I open my eyes, and I see a kid standing at the foot of the couch, like, literally like a foot away from me. And, Nikki is, she's probably about 6 feet away from me, playing on the computer, and she has her back to me. But, when I look at the kid, like I said, he's kind of vapory, kind of transparent, but, not solid, but not ghosty either, if you know what I'm saying.
It's not apparition-like, more just pasty?
Yeah, like, it was kind of, yeah, I don't even know how to explain it. It was definitely not a human being standing there, but
Gotcha.
it definitely, like, I could still make out the whole kid, you know. It wasn't something like I was squinting to see. And he was dressed in, you know, like the old, from like the 20s, the 30s, 40s, whenever they used to wear, like, it was that one-piece suit that the kids used to wear. It was like a set of shorts that was connected with like an overall top, you know, like a, you know, like the Oshkosh Bagosh kind of thing. You know, with like he had like a white T-shirt on underneath with like this, you know, I don't know what color, but like black, like short overalls type of thing.
Right.
And now the kid wasn't, he was kind of gray. It was like the whole thing was gray. He wasn't like a, you know, wasn't a vivid color. He was kind of gray looking.
Sure.
And the problem that really freaked me out, his face was smashed in. Almost like his face had been folded in half. Like if you had taken his forehead and bent it over and touched his chin.
Eee.
So, yeah. So, like, there was, like, just a big crease, like, across the middle of his face. Like, he didn't have a distinctive face. Have you ever seen Pink Floyd The Wall?
No, I haven't. I have to be honest.
Well, in that movie, like, you know, with the whole we don't need no education, there's a whole scene where the kids are all getting put into a meat grinder, and they're all wearing these blank masks. It's just a face with, like, blackened eyes and a blackened mouth. That's almost exactly what he looked like.
Well, they didn't eat their pudding. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah, they can't have any pudding.
No, they eat their meat. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt. That was stupid. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. But that's exactly what it was like, and it creeped me out. Now, the thing that was weird was I looked at him and I'm like, what the hell is this? You know, so like I shut my eyes and opened them back up again, and he's still there. It wasn't like he disappeared. He was still there. He stood there for, you know, a good 20, 30 seconds. So then, like, I shut my eyes again, and I opened them, and he, at that point, he was gone. And, you know, Nick was none the wiser. I didn't want to tell her, but, you know, I was like, did you see that kid there? And she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I just saw a kid standing in the living room. She's like, you're crazy, you know, or whatever. But there was no doubt about it that there was a little smashed-faced kid standing in my living room that Saturday afternoon when I woke up, and that really freaked me out. Now, you couple that with the footsteps I hear upstairs, and you know, I'm starting to get a weird vibe that maybe, you know, this place that we're living in is haunted. So, you know, that happened. I think it was in the summer. Several months later, something else happened to me where we were sleeping in bed. This was middle of the night type of thing, and I was asleep. I was laying on my side, you know, almost on the edge of the bed.
Right.
And I got this overwhelming fear, this feeling of panic, like absolute fright, like. And you know, I'm still asleep. I'm still asleep basically. And my heart's racing and pounding, like, you know, 1,000 beats a minute. Bam, 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 bam. And I don't know what's going on. And I'm kind of shimmying towards the center of the bed. And my heart's pounding, and I got this feeling of, you know, something bad's happening. And I opened my eyes, and there was a big shadowy mass hovering over the bed. It was just, like what they call shadow people. I've heard them refer to as that. It was just it wasn't any distinct shape. It was just this big black cloud of smoke hovering over me. And he was probably, I don't know if it was a he, but it was probably like 2 or 3 feet away from me. And I'm still laying on like my right side, and I'm looking at it. And when I opened my eyes, I saw it, and it within seconds it disappeared. And I sat up, you know, panic. I'm scared to death. And as I sat up, I could see, you know, I'm sitting like at the foot of the bed now, and I can see out into the living room, you know, because the apartment was really small. And as I sat up, I saw a silhouette of a head and like shoulders walking out of the bedroom towards the kitchen. Like I saw it on the wall. Like there was a light coming out of the living room, and it cast a shadow on the wall. As as I sat up, I saw a head and shoulders walking out of the bedroom into the kitchen.
Oh, dude.
And yeah, that panicked. I freaked out at that point. That was one of the scariest moments I've ever had in my life. And we at that point we started looking around to
contacting realtors. Yeah.
Yeah,
Time to move.
We got a real estate agent in there. Yeah, we moved pretty quickly.
Was Nick in bed with you?
Yes.
Did she feel did she sense any of this stuff or anything like?
No. It's
not
always
so much?
me. It was just me. Just both times it was only me. Because at that point it was probably 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
Middle of the night.
We're in deep sleep, and like I said, I don't know what caused me to shimmy towards the center, but something inside of me was saying, you gotta move, something's wrong here. And when I opened my eyes, there it was, just hovering over me, and then I saw a silhouette of a head and shoulders walking out of the bedroom.
I don't know how to describe it, and I've never experienced anything like it, so I'm of course skeptical, but man, does that make a good story.
Yeah, it was weird.